Holy burger burglars, Batman! Tiki here, and I have been watching through all of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way, but that was the past. And we must now enter the Batman's future.
Tonight we are talking Season 2, Episode 3. It's a no Bruce Wayne episode, Dragon. The first no Bruce episode.
He was in the episode.
Was he?
Yeah, very brief. One scene, one very brief
Very,
scene,
very briefly, because I watched it twice and I couldn't, I guess he passed by really briefly. I'm sorry.
And if I don't miss it, he only had one line.
You see, I don't even, again, I watched it twice, but anyway.
You think, well, yeah, we'll get into, go on.
We're talking Joyride. So, yeah, Dragon, this one, it's okay. I'm not going to lie, I'm not overly stoked on this, but I will admit it does play a little bit better on the rewatch. I do think it's got some strong qualities. Once again, with Batman Beyond, I mean, it's not like this is, the most monumental ending of a Batman Beyond episode ever by any stretch, but it's a solid ending, from a character point of view. And I do really like the arc we get with the kind of the indoctrinated person, the guy who's going through the hazing, essentially. I really like his arc. I wish I don't know, I kind of feel like I wish more of the episode was told from that character's perspective, because as it stands now, I feel like this episode is kind of in a weird middle ground where it's we certainly get enough Batman that it doesn't necessarily feel like a one-off, okay, now we're following the Jokerz. But I feel like if we were to follow that particular character and sort of just have Batman as the, kind of see Batman as the Joker see Batman in the episode where he just pops up for the action scenes, I honestly think that this might have been a little bit stronger, because I did like the characterization that we did get with that character. But as it stands now, I think this is probably just okay. It's definitely it's not bad, but it's definitely on the lower rung of the Batman Beyond episodes that I've seen so far.
Okay.
All right. We got Slasher Fred. Nice to see you. He says Terry has many similarities to Bruce Wayne. His father is killed and Terry becomes the new Batman to cope with his loss. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Slasher Fred. That is the premise of the show. All right. Sometimes with Slasher Fred, I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not. Anyways, go ahead, Dragon.
Okay. So, this was directed by Butch Lukic, who did, stuff from the New Batman Adventures. He did the Cult of the Cat episode from Batman Beyond. He did Spellbound and Gollum. Let's see, Golem. The writer of this was the great Stan Berkowitz. Der Burke. Writers of
Burke, yes.
So yes, he did Cult of the Cat as well. So it's a little reunion between these two. Also did Dead Man's Hand, the Royal Flush Gang episode, and very recently did Earth Mover, which you really liked.
I did.
Okay, so studio worked on this. You'll never guess.
Oh my god!
It was Coco with some little marshmallows that are embroidered with Dong Yang on them.
That sounds delightful.
It does, doesn't it? You know what that tastes like?
Oh, God.
Some fine animation, my friend. That tastes like some fine animation. Anyway. So, so not a whole lot of context on this one. Just the main beats that hit. In this episode, it kind of explores the youth angle of Batman Beyond, with the Jokerz. We kind of flesh out the Jokerz and kind of them, how they work as a gang. And, we also we do it kind of via an American Graffiti-esque situation, which is interesting.
A little bit, yeah. I didn't. When you put it like that, sure.
We're in pursuit of them. They're hot rodding around the place. Let's see. So the episode, as you noted, is very light on Bruce Wayne, and I believe as you kind of see throughout season 2, we're going to cut back a little on Bruce Wayne season 2. He's going to be around.
Oh
Don't get me
no, don't
wrong.
say that.
No. Don't get no. What I mean is like he's going to be in all the episodes. All right. So he's going to be he's not. We're not going to. Out of all Batman Beyond, I could be wrong. It's been a while. Not counting the crossover episode with the Zeta Project, I don't think. I think there's maybe one episode total that does not have Bruce Wayne in it. Again, might not even be one. Just might. Anyway, fact of the matter is, you'll notice it's minimal Bruce Wayne this episode. I mean, this season particularly is when they're making the shift after the first season of like, okay, we want to make sure this is Terry's show that Bruce Wayne features in, but it's Terry's show.
I mean, that makes sense, but at the same time, I feel like one of the big things that draws people into this show is that sort of push and pull between the two of them.
Well, don't get me wrong, man. I'll tease this up for you. The next episode's going to compensate for the minimal Bruce Wayne of this episode.
I'm saying there's so little Bruce Wayne this episode, Dragon, that I think this is the first time that we legitimately cannot point to a great Conroy moment this episode.
I mean, he's got a good line.
Did he?
Yeah, it's one line, but it's pretty good.
All right, fair enough. Anyway. I have a kind of like I have a great Conroy like I don't know, like sort of like a moment from Terry that would be a little bit of a great Conroy that I want to point out when we get to it.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so that's the thing. We're kind of, this is again season 2. They're kind of feeling out new directions and stuff, and they're feeling out the direction of like, okay, we're going the more kind of a high school kind of related thing. We're also kind of exploring kind of the new status quo we have versus like like a very kind of like generational thing we had in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of embracing new stories and stuff. We also do have a generational component with the Jokerz, which you do kind of explore in an interesting way, which also includes a very big Easter egg in this episode, which we'll talk about.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. A couple comments before we go forward here. Let's see. Richard Victim says the Joker would never be seen wearing these silly hats.
I don't know about that.
Amateurs.
I don't know about that. Joker's worn some pretty flamboyant outfits for the animated series. I don't know.
Okay, Slasher Fried Dragon. Have you heard about this? The superhero show Black Scorpion. Apparently Adam West and Frank Gorshin were on it, playing villains.
No, I didn't. I've never heard of Black Scorpion.
Yeah, it sounds intriguing. He says it's an underrated superhero show.
Would have had to have been in, I assume, probably early 2000s.
Yeah, maybe. I'll definitely have to look into that one, Slasher Fred.
All right.
Okay, because we here on So You Want to Be an Imagineer, if anything else, we fully support Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Warp Monarch says these Jokers don't know how completely evil the Joker is, and they'll find out the hard way.
Oh, they will, and it's going to be awesome.
Little tease.
Yep. Oh, God, it's going to be so good when we get to that. And we're in the season where it happens.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well,
that's kind of funny. I kind of assumed he was just citing Return of the Joker.
Well, no, he is Tiki. That's what I'm talking about. Like season 2, essentially. When we reach the end of 2, that's when we're gonna.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I'm sure you've told me that before.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's for some reason I always picture Return of the Joker coming at the very end of the show. I'm sorry.
No, it's not the very end of the show. It's essentially. It kind of works like how Phantasm is kind of between season. Well. Again, it's the same deal where they're working on it while they're working on the show, so it's kind of in the middle of 2. Same thing about in the animated series. Phantasm's going to come in the middle of season 2, but it kind of... Anyway, let's not get bogged down semantics. Let's get into the episode. So, the Jokerz are they're riding on the motorcycles to do this gang initiation, and we see 2 hotshot pilots who are kind of like going around the sky, and they're hotshotting it here, and they're in this experimental military craft.
I have kind of a funny story about these pilots.
Okay,
it's not really a story; it's just kind of like a. So Kevin Michael Richardson is one of the pilots. Dragon.
He's also Fat T later.
Oh! I have things to say about Fat T, my friend. Don't you worry.
We'll talk all about Fat T later. We'll spill all the Fat T.
Anyways, is it just me, or does Kevin Michael Richardson, like in the very brief role that he has at the start here, He sounded very Clancy Brown like.
I mean, a little.
I kind of had to double check.
Sometimes-
Like, wait, is that Clancy Brown? No, it's Kevin Michael Richardson. Okay.
Oh, for sure, it's Kevin Michael Richardson.
I don't know. Maybe it was just kind of like the, his voice is a little staticky from the intercom. Maybe that was it. Anyways.
Maybe. All right, so point being, we got pilots. They're flying around, and oh boy, these the Jokerz like, oh, they're gonna remember that. They're gonna think like a UFO or something. They're kind of like laughing to themselves. You don't want to laugh at the Jokerz, guys. This is not gonna end well for you. So anyway, so they're going around. Dr. Price, who's going to be important later, she's the lady on the intercom. Dr. Price is checking in on her experimental the ship here, and they basically they're listing out all the stuff. She's like, hey, so tell me what's going on, guys. How's she flying and everything? And she says, oh, the fuel temp is 280. 280. This
that
is,
is like not good at all.
To quote the Dark Knight. Okay, so that's not good. Like the one line from the Dark Knight no one ever quotes.
Oh my god, it's a good quote. It's a good quote.
I know, it's nice. So anyway, the fuel temperature is 280, which I just love the dread of like, okay, pull over right now. Just get out. We're gonna be there in 5 minutes. Okay, just land it and get out. It's an immediate evac. So the teams they're gonna be along in 5 minutes. Anyway, while this is going on, Scab. Remember, we met Scab in the pilot. Scab
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, so we meet Scab and the Joker with the stupid hat, the really stupid looking hat. Think
you're gonna have to get more specific, Dragon.
All right, well, the Joker with like the green and purple hat with like the face paint on and like
got it.
The long droopy stupid looking hat, that one. The one who's kind of like is like who's reminded the character from Fat Albert with like the mask that's like it's like the hood, like it's like the hat.
Dragon, do I look like someone who knows the Fat Albert characters?
I gotta be honest, kind of.
Need I remind you of the whole like the Black History Month thing? David Hyde Pierce scheme?
All right, fine.
I am not cultured, my friend.
Anyway, oh wait, no, Dumb Donald. That's who it was. It was Dumb Donald.
Dumb Donald. Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure there were many a Trump parodies of that character. Anyways.
We're going to move on. Point being, Scab and Co., that's what his name is, Scab and Co., they're preparing to initiate Lee, who is not 3D. They're going to initiate Lee.
That's a good pull.
They're going to initiate Lee. Lee is just kind of this blonde, like, ponytailed teen. And basically, he's they went all the way out here. This is like these UFOs. Like, no, we're out here for other things. Like, you know why we do our initiation all the way out here, so no one will hear you scream.
I have a revelation I found out about 2D Lee recently, but I don't want to say it on air. So just remind me when we're off air, Dragon. It's funny you bring up that particular person.
Oh, you mean that he's bi-dimensional?
No, he's. I'll tell you off air. All
right. Anyway. So, again, very intimidating. They're putting lipstick on him. They give him like a little nose. Like, oh god, what? I know it's kids.
I kind of like that look where it's like, okay, this is like the start of your clown outfit. You still have the regular hair. You still have just the tank top, but you get the makeup.
Okay, so then here's the big Easter Tiki, the big Easter egg.
Okay.
Are you ready for the big Easter egg?
I mean, not really, just because I'm probably not going to be as excited about it as you are, but
I mean, it's pretty exciting once you get it, man.
Okay.
Okay, so we have this open mind yet again after the previous episode. Just like all these mine shafts, nothing good happens with these mine shafts in Gotham. Anyway, so we have this open mine shaft, and we reveal a skeleton.
Uh-huh.
Now, Tiki, you'll notice that skeleton has a grin and a little flower on the lapel.
Oh.
So the speculation, now, I mean, before the movie, this was always speculated, and there's nothing saying it isn't true, and I'll get into that in a second.
Well, I mean, I know what the twist of the movie is, so it's like I know that it could still be true based on that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So the reveal, we see a skeleton, and the speculation was always that these are the Arkham, the Arkham grounds. Years later, in which Arkham's completely gone, it's just an open hole in the ground. We reveal in that movie that Joker was buried in the remains of Arkham.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
now here's the thing: there is a deleted scene in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker in which we show Joker's body, but then they nixed that scene, so it's not canon technically. So based on that, it still makes this scene stand up to scrutiny. Technically, it's like, well, if this is the grounds of Arkham, in theory, that is Joker's body, and not just like some people take it to be Joker's body, which is the very direct, I think, the implied interpretation, like, okay, it's Joker's body, and it's like a ceremonial thing. You're coming to worship the altar of the guy who inspired the gang.
Oh, interesting.
That's the impression. That's essentially the implication of why they're doing this, and they're trying to scare the tar out of the guy. But this is what it's about to be, a Joker, man.
I mean, it is. It's especially interesting just because, when you consider just how fundamentally different the actual Jokerz are in comparison to the real Joker's philosophy.
Exactly, and
kind of like gotten lost in translation over the decades.
No, for sure, yeah. In fact, they're going again. It's the hot topic generation. They're going off.
God, totally.
they're going off of the aesthetic of like, yeah, the Joker's all about this and that. They're looking at the flamboyancy and the kind
Dragon,
of
this show came out the exact same year as Invader Zim, my friend. This show is born and bred in the hot topic era.
Right. So the point is, they're looking to the the set dressing of the Joker, not like the cruel. Like, they're not reading the news articles. They're looking at, oh, yeah, remember that guy took over the airwaves and he was smiling and everything? That guy. We want to look like that guy. We want to be anarchist and crazy men. Yeah. Of course, without really having any grasp on what all the horrible things that he did. Anyway, so again, the flip side is that you could just look at it as like, it's an intimidation tactic. Like, here's like the last Joker who we didn't like, and we just left his dead body here. Either way you interpret it, whether it's literally the Joker's body or just like another gang initiate, prospective member of the Joker.
Oh God, if it's like a gang initiation member who got killed during the initiation, that almost makes it even more dark.
So that's the thing. Either way, it's pretty messed up. Either worshiping at the altar of the Joker's dead body,
right.
Like, not even just dead body, that his full skeletal body over the course of decades,
like Quasimodo at the very end of the original Hunchback status.
Wait, was he really that decomposed at the end?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Dragon, his bones literally turned to dust at the end.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go, then. Anyway, so yeah, something like that, or it's just, again, like, hey, here's the last guy who didn't make the cut.
I honestly kind of think the latter is even more fucked up.
Well, whatever you like, because again, we do have a cool deleted scene. If you ever want to say, I want this to be the dead initiate, and we'll just have this other cool deleted scene of what maybe where the Joker's body is. Anyway, so point being, the little Easter egg there gets interrupted by the ship landing, and the Scab sees the ship and everything, and he and the Jokerz they brutally take out these guys, like bam, slam into him with the motorcycle, bam, bam. And they walk on there, and Ko's thinking like, hey, this is a UFO. Like, no, the writing's in English, Ko. Come on. Anyway, so this is our premise of dumb teen Jokerz hijacking a next generation military craft. They test it out, and we just see the destructive possibilities. Here's like a blast, like a rock formation off to the side. There's like, what is it? Oh, I know what it is. Ours.
So that does kind of like call to mind, Dragon. I do really like the two plot lines that I really like in this episode are Lee's the name of the guy getting initiated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I like his storyline. Again, I kind of wish the episode was told through his perspective fully. I think that would have made it like stand out more. But I do like what we do with his character. And then I also like Scab's whole thing where it's like he's almost kind of like addicted to the power that this thing provides for him. And I again, there are elements of this episode that are very smartly written, specifically from those two characters.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like again, like Scab's talking up like what the power of being a Joker to Lee, and of course Lee's going to be kind of misled here, and he's seeing it firsthand, and basically being deflated. Like, man, the Jokers really are not what they were all cracked up to be.
Mm-hmm.
There are also kind of some odd parallels to the opening of the Batman. If you look at this episode, I've always thought about this. Where in the Batman you have that one gang initiate. Yeah, it's not the Jokerz because it was Halloween. They're all kind of made up, look like skeletons and stuff, and occasionally clowns. And if you look at them, you have that one guy whose face is kind of half and half, and that guy.
You mean the one guy who looks just like Doug Walker?
No. The guy who looks like
not Malcolm. That guy, because that's the only guy my mind instantly goes to when I think of those particular characters.
One could argue, though, you have Doug Walker as the guy who very cathartically gets the crap beat out of him.
That's true. That's true.
But the guy I'm talking about bears a resemblance to Malcolm.
Oh God! Oh my God! I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
the guy with like half the face painted, not the full face is Walker. The half face is the guy who has second thoughts when Batman comes.
Oh no! Okay, yeah, no. Now I know exactly what you're getting.
So you follow my point now, right? The fact that we have a guy who has second thoughts and he runs away and he's kind of Joker-esque, Joker's-esque. Anyway,
I get you.
Okay. Anyway, so point being, Scab, they see the ship, they hijack the ship, and they're running off, and just like, if only they had been there like 5 seconds sooner, Dr. Price and company finally show up, and they're too late, and these guys are zipping around.
These guys are freaking rude to Dr. Price, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Dr. Price calls.
Dude, you sound hot.
You got to admit, like, for dumb teen writing, I don't know why, Scab's delivery, and this sounds funny, even though it's very rude. Just the fact, like, who are you? Are you hot? You sound hot.
That is a line just straight out of Beavis and Butthead, Dragon.
I know, right? Yeah. Anyway, of course, we should talk about Dr. Price, voiced by the incomparable Wendy Malick. I love me. Of
course.
God, I love me some Wendy Malick. She's great, of course, for many roles. I mean, I think the top of which for us, Chicha from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, for sure. I would say the kids today probably know her best as from the Owl House.
Oh, I didn't know she was on the Owl House.
Yeah, she's one of the main characters in the Owl House.
Oh,
she's
cool.
Like the main witch.
Wendy Malick does a lot of voice work. For me, growing up, the big Wendy Malick role I think I liked most from her, aside from Chicha, obviously, was Principal Folsom, or Vice. I think it was Principal. It's either Vice Principal or Principal Folsom from Fillmore.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so she was like,
which should be on Disney Plus.
Yep, should be. Somehow isn't.
Like, at least with Buzz Lightyear, it's like, it sucks, but at least, like, I don't understand it, but there's at least an explanation for it as far as, like, the two studios can't get along. There's no excuse for Fillmore not being on there, man.
There's really no excuse for Legend of Tarzan not being on there. If we're going to put
Edgar Rice Burroughs' estate is notorious.
But the original was there. The original's there.
Yeah, well, there's a reason they never went back to the Tarzan role in Kingdom Hearts, Dragon. Let's just put it that way. That I can more understand.
Okay.
Anyway,
we're getting sidetracked. Also, she was on Frasier.
Oh, yeah,
she became a recurring character. She dated the father on Frasier for towards the end. Like, they actually, they got married, in fact. Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. After all that, anyway, so of course, then we get to the typical babe. Ain't even met her, and she's giving me orders, and then she's like, she's about to tell him about the catastrophic thing that's going to happen if they keep driving this thing around. He says, blah blah blah, over the dire warning part, and then he turns.
Dragon. Essentially, the premise of this episode is kind of like one part cop car, which I know you probably haven't seen yet, right? That's the.
I haven't seen it, but I remember what you told me about.
Oh, I again strongly recommend it. Really, really enjoyed it. But then also there's kind of like an element of the Keanu Reeves speed with the whole like having to control the the speed of it and that there being a danger of it blowing up.
Yeah.
All right. Slasher Fred, yeah, this series does have Cree Summers. I remember she popped up. Didn't she pop up for the first time last episode, Dragon?
No, Splicers.
Okay, right. Yeah,
so the premiere.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see where the Cree Summers character goes.
Very soon we're gonna full on introduce her. So we're getting not next episode, but I forget if it's 2 episodes or 3 episodes from now. She's coming up soon.
Yeah, always love me some Cree Summers. Always love me some
there's
Cree
going
Summers.
to be a lot of Cree Summers this season. You're going to like it.
All right.
Anyway, let's see. Okay. Anyway, so appointment. There's a logic question for you. Do you think most military? Do you think they would have the radio on there, like not just like the actual communique radio? I mean, talking about like stations and everything. He's just putting on tunes on the radio.
I don't see why not. Honestly,
I mean, I support it. It just feels like experimental.
Frankie, come on, just because you're in the military doesn't mean you don't have the right to listen to music.
It's not so much that; it's the fact that this is like a prototype craft. Like, really,
yeah, I hear you.
These are the core features that we're putting on the thing. It just
Dragon,
like,
I'm gonna chalk that right into the we don't care category.
Sure. It's just kind of funny that it feels like we need something to really sell like the American graffiti, but also we need tunes.
No, totally. It is also like the two things I mentioned, but then also there's definitely some American graffiti in there as well.
Yeah. Okay. So they're going off and they're hitting every rock along the way. I love their terrible drivers. Hitting literally going out of their way to hit every rock on their way out.
Anyway, kind of like a reverse Star-Lord from Guardians 3.
Yeah.
He can drive the spaceships, but just not the regular cars.
No, we can't. He can open the doors though.
Oh God. I love that clip is already just like circulated online so hard. Anyways,
okay, so Scab is showing the Jokerz, the recurring gang that basically our season 1 gang. We're gonna spice them up in season 2 with a new lineup, but we haven't gotten there yet. I think after this episode, honestly, I think is when we start spicing up the lineup. Anyway,
do we get more Scab after this episode?
Here's the thing. I forget if Scab shows up in the new lineup if he carried over.
Okay.
This might be the last Scab though. At the very least,
because I was gonna say like the note that we end out on him, like it would be a good ending point, but it would also be a good it'd be interesting to check in on him after this episode.
For the life of me, I can't remember if he came back. It was a bit part after this
episode.
Sure. This is like his big episode. I forget if he's with our new lineup in like part or not. I don't think he is. I think this might be the last we see of Scab at the bare minimum in a major way. Last time like Scab has a speaking
role. That makes sense.
Okay, anyway, so let's see. Point me, Scab showing the rest of the Joker sort, including J-Man, who is voiced by Bruce Timm.
Indeed. I noticed that.
Hey, Scab, nice ride. Where did you get? And we have one of the great lines of the episode. My grades are good, so my folks bought me a car. All right, so then we get to one of the great sequences.
Oh, God, I love this.
This scene is
amazing.
There's so much right about this scene. Okay, so we go. So the Joker's in their ride. They're going to grab some food, and they're going to Beefy Burger.
This is like a burger joint straight out of like the Noodle Burger Boy of Big Hero 6 Dragon. That's what it reminded me of.
Okay, so there's a lot to break. Okay, so one Beefy Burger is kind of like a Bob's Big Boy in terms of, again, like you said with the the Noodle Burger Boy of it all. It's kind of a parody of Bob's Big Boy. I like that there are actually burger places called like Hi-Fi Burger and everything, so it's kind of like a fun takeoff on like it's a Beefy Burger, but kind of spelled out. Little, kind of
where's the beef? Beefy Burger.
All right, so there's a bit I completely forgot until the rewatch of this episode. It's a really brutal, subtle bit I guess I missed where when they crash into the drive-thru, I didn't notice until the rewatch. Like, oh God. You see this lady ordering her food. This poor lady is in the car and just like smash.
Oh my God.
Wow, oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh, this is a kid. Oh my God, it's a kid show. Oh.
So speaking of victims and all of this, Dragon, I think the teenager just totally steals the show with this scene.
This poor bird.
I feel like it's just so fucking relatable.
I know it's this poor burger jockey here, where he's like, basically these Jokers come by, and there's a scene in the comics that Paul Dini wrote once. It's a Christmas. I forget if it's called Silent Night or not. So Paul Dini wrote this as one-off Joker Christmas story. It's really good. And Joker has Robin hostage for the whole thing, and Robin's like in the car. So basically, Joker's been driving and mowing people over, and he pulls into a fast food place. And he basically is ordering food, and this poor kid on the other side is basically Joker's talking a mile a minute as he's ordering like the whole left side of the menu. And this poor, oh God, I forget if Joker does. I think Joker kills the kid. I don't know.
Oh God,
it's horrible. I mean, the best of ways. Anyway,
So this poor kid, man, it's like, first of all, I love how he's adding it up on the cash register, and as soon as he, as soon as he says the total, it's like he knows these people aren't going to pay. He's
but he has
about
to say it. Like 2 dozen burgers, 2 dozen fries, like gallons of shakes.
And then it's like, Dragon, this is the moment that just absolutely fucking kills me.
And
like
a big beefer to go. I'm sorry. So hit him with the moment.
Yeah. So, oh God.
It's going to be 60 units.
Yeah, so Scab, it's like, oh, don't you mean it's on the house?
Beefy says it's on the house.
Greg, I can't get over this poor kid, man. The Anna, it's priceless. It's like the perfect, realistic reaction. It's just very meekly, very pathetically, just, sir, I really can't.
And then he hits the button, and then this is what cracks me up. He basically blasts the giant, beefy, Big Bob's Big Boy just kind of mascot, and it tips onto the restaurant. So it is in fact Beefy saying it's on the house.
Oh my God,
that's great. So then there's always a little quibble with this scene, through the fact that so then he's just chucking all these burgers, but they're not even wrapped. All these burgers are being chucked into the
Dragon,
side.
if you were the kid, though, would you take the time to wrap the burgers?
Honestly, I mean, it would be a good idea.
No, don't say you would.
I would.
If you were actually getting robbed, bro, come on.
Well, I mean, they're gonna get mad if you're just chucking buns and condiments at them. Why are you throwing food at me? Eat some bullets.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay, Richard.
I'm not going to give him napkins or anything. I'm just going to throw the burger at him.
Fair enough. I think you and Lyle from Better Call Saul would be in good company, Dragon.
Thank you.
All right. Richard's victim says, just because you're in the military doesn't mean you can't be into music. The military needs to start using that as a slogan. Yes, that should be their new ad campaign after Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, I'm not saying they can't have... Wait, what?
Yeah, didn't you hear about that?
No.
They had a full-blown ad campaign with Jonathan Majors when the Jonathan Majors shit hit.
Really? I didn't know.
I think it was the military. I think it was the Marines specifically.
Really? The Marines had...
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was either the Marines or the Army. A full-blown ad campaign with him.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah. Just to clarify again, I'm not saying the military can't have music. It's just the fact that it feels like in the prototype ship, you think that would be that would not be the high priority of all the things we're testing. You think they put that in after we finalize? We can add a radio and really.
Honestly, Dragon, my logic is kind of just they need the radio for the radio frequency. You know what I mean?
I think you're ultimately right. That's probably why it's there. They're lucky enough to have stations and stuff, but All right, anyway.
I mean, I'm not an expert on how radios work. Maybe the stations just come with the radio frequency.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they all, implying logic to it, they probably just lucked out with that. So, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so point being, we toss all these unwrapped burgers to them. And also clowns and fast food. Just a little note there as well. Clowns and fast food.
Okay.
Anyway. No, I'm just doing general, a little McDonald's kind of. Anyway, so we have one of the Jokers bites into this burger and ketchup spurts.
Very messy, Carl's Jr. early '90s commercial status.
Yeah. So the ketchup lands on our hero's shoes. He enters 5 minutes into the episode. There he is. It's Terry McGinnis. The Batman. It's the new Batman. It's that kid.
Yeah, that's pretty decent way to introduce him. But like I said, Dragon, I almost kind of wish the whole episode was just kind of shown from Lee's perspective. I don't know.
I agree, Tiki. That would have been a really cool idea, but I think they wanted I don't know. We have to exposit the whole nuclear element of the episode, so I think I
guess that's true. Yeah.
We have to exposit why exactly.
I mean, honestly, I don't necessarily think the nuclear element of the episode is really needed per se.
It adds a ticking clock in the Joker.
It adds a ticking clock, but I'm saying you could essentially tell the same story without the ticking clock element.
I mean, it's also them trying to spell out to this one deluded Joker that, hey, this thing's gonna blow up.
Sure.
And not just blow up, I mean catastrophically blow up.
Mhm.
Anyway, so Terry has like this little device in his belt here where he basically summons the Batmobile to his location. He suits up.
Now, I guess this is why, again, I watched this episode twice. Bruce must have just a very brief cameo because, the second time I watched this episode, I was like, okay, I assume if Bruce is going to be in the episode, it's going to be here with the Batmobile, but no.
Yeah, so let's see. So we have this bit where he's, "Hey, Bat, you want to race?" So we have the one Bruce Wayne scene of the episode here, and I love how stock it is when you think about it. Is the fact that Bruce Wayne's by the microscope because I didn't really think of what to do with him right now. Okay, well, here's the if
Not
you think
now,
about
Terry. I'm looking at slides.
Yep, he's anyway. So he's telling him like it's some sort of military vehicle, and then Bruce says his one line of the episode, which is it's nicely.
Oh my god! Yeah, no, okay. You see, do you really blame me for not even like registering that appearance in my head? That's a super brief appearance.
I mean, Tiki, if you're looking for it, and there's only one scene. I mean, it's.
I hear you. Anyways.
Anyway, so
it really is as blink and you miss it as you can get, though. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so he says it's a military vehicle, and Bruce says, "So stop them." Easy for you to say. So again, it's like this is Bruce just being really, really tough on Terry.
I got better things to do today, Terry.
I got slides.
So yeah, Dragon. Like I said, we really cannot register that as a great Conroy moment. We really can't, in all fairness.
I mean, not the great Conroy, but
but like I said, I do think that Terry kind of has like an honorary great Conroy moment later on that I'll point out.
Sure. Anyway, okay, but what's fun though about this brief Bruce Wayne cameo because it's very apparent that it's like
just besides the fact that it's just like delightfully brief in an almost funny way,
and the line itself. So stop them, just being kind of snarky. Don't whine to me. Don't whine to me about it. Go stop it. Go.
You're the Batman now, kid.
So that's the thing. So I love that it's kind of the acknowledgement of this is not Bruce's show, okay? It's Terry's show. It's basically him saying, "So stop him, do the thing, okay? Do the title character thing."
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, so we see the stealth capabilities of this military craft. Basically, breaks my heart. Destroys the Batmobile, not the Batmobile. It's the cool future Bat. The first time it's been destroyed, by the way, so far. Which, in the course of Batman the Animated Series, the Batmobile gets destroyed a handful of times. Less times than you think, but still it happens. Mm-hmm. So it's the first time the new Batmobile gets destroyed. Yep. See, it's not like the Razor Crest. The Razor Crest, when that gets destroyed, it's never coming back. And we know it's never coming back.
So it's not like a death of an inanimate object kind of deal? It's not on that level?
Oddly, the Batmobiles, no. Oddly, no. Razor Crest, however,
you would think out of any fictional vehicle, the death of the Batmobiles would be like a huge deal.
But to be fair, we see them get new ones all the time, so
that's true. That's true.
Now, admittedly, we just replace them with the same ones in the animated series, but
you know what? When I think about it, I kind of does it feel like a missed opportunity in the sequel trilogy that we didn't get a death of the Millennium Falcon?
When you put it like that,
that would have been big, wouldn't it?
That's a trump card they never used.
Yeah.
But it's a scared play because then you're going to go down as you're the movie that destroyed the Millennium.
right.
Yeah.
Anyways,
what else do you want?
I'm just saying, would have added some stakes.
No, I agree.
All right.
Okay. So, point being, Batmobile is out of commission, and then the Jokerz attack Batman up close and personal because they're dopes and they don't realize that maybe we should just shoot them while we can. So, they're a little fighty fight going on here, and Lee's asking, all of you to finish one guy off, and a little build up to the intimidation. And this is the vision you're talking about, Tiki, where if we did it from this perspective, the episode might have had a really...
Yeah, totally, where, again, it's I think pretty much everyone who appreciates Batman is kind of a sucker for... for those moments where you kind of see Batman from the perspective of the criminals, and kind of see the fear. You know what I mean?
No, I agree for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so we have some cool moves here. Batman lit against the fire. That's really awesome looking. He shoots some bola batarangs at them. They can wrap them up from the wrist-launched batarang disc. Batman beats the tar out of them, which is always a fun sight to see. Then Scab, Lee, and Co. They head back into the craft, and they're firing at him, and they shoot the wings, which is bad because now he can't glide. So basically,
they don't fly now.
Not anymore. Anyway, so we importantly, the you know what's funny though? Now when you look back at they fly now, it's like if only they
I love they fly now, Dragon. I honestly, unironically love they fly.
No, I mean now if you think about it, it's like now in Mando season 3 they flew. You know,
yeah.
No one knows about it though. That's the thing. They probably was a flash in the pan, so they wouldn't know that they fly now. But for a time though, now we know they did fly.
Oh God!
Very briefly, they did fly, but now they're flying again. And now they're falling. Now they're falling with style. Okay. Anyway, point being, we shot out the wings, which means Batman can't glide, which is why he's going to be teaming up with Dr. Price. Dr. Price saves Batman's bacon as he's being shot at by Jokerz. She checks in on him. That was a good Terry line here, like nothing. Are you okay? Nothing. A few transplants won't cure. And then she just kind of interrupts, like, good enough. I love Dr. Price, man. She's a one-off character, but I like her.
Yeah, again, this episode kind of like exists in a weird middle ground where it's like, if it's not told from the perspective of the Jokerz, I kind of would have liked a little bit more from her. I don't know, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Especially because she kind of just vanishes from the episode after a certain point.
I don't know. I mean, she was there to the climax. I mean, she's teamed up with Batman until, like, as far as like they intersect in the episode on, where they're pretty much, you know.
I'm just saying she doesn't really like, you know, after Batman takes the key from her, we don't really follow up on her at all.
That's a good point. You're not wrong.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Just kind of feels weird that, you know, for a character that's kind of built up, there's no real resolution.
All right. So let's see. She's playing her cards close to the vest here because of, you know, the government work. Batman's trying to interrogate her here. He says, like, what do you do? Classified. Ooh, government stuff. So, you know, I love the snarky Batman here. He's just saying, he's basically deducing, even though he's not the world's greatest detective, he's like, classified. Oh, I know what that means. It's government stuff. So, you know, she's not really doing a great job of hiding stuff right now. It's just, let me help you. This is like, no, this is, I know who jacked your ride. This is, yeah, give me a lift and I'll tell you. It's the Jokerz. Okay, madmen. No, not madmen. Kids.
And that right there, Dragon, that right there is my my honorary Great Conroy moment.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like he says that with a lot of gravitas.
I have a different one, but that's actually one I didn't think. That's a good one. That might be better. So yeah, the whole like, no. Kids, and it's a little foreshadowing.
It's really, you know, like I really like that line because it's like it already shows you that Terry is kind of like thinking on Bruce's level when it comes to empathy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We also see, you know, it's a little bit of a foreshadow to season 2. Again, there's definitely a teen vibe to season 2.
Mm-hmm.
This sort of thing is going to be important, like Terry being able to empathize with the younger crowd. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we see that Lee is smarter than the rest of the Jokerz. He's saying, well, why didn't we just finish him off while we had the ship?
Right.
This ship,
I love how it's like with Lee, it's not even like, I mean, it's partly a question of morals, but it's more so just a question of like, these guys are a bunch of dopes.
Yeah, like Lee is bringing up, like, isn't this ship better than that lady's ship that was shooting at us? Like, yeah, then why didn't we finish her off and then kill Batman? Like,
right.
The real reason the Jokerz are, like Batman always says, a superstitious and cowardly lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they kind of come up with the fake reason. The tease, man, the tease.
Oh my God.
Reminds me of that.
Like, what the hell does that even mean, bro?
The tease, man. They got to be educated. You know what's funny though? Every time I hear the tease, man, the tease, it reminds me of this Robot Chicken gag about Daredevil.
Oh, like, no. God.
Okay, I'm going to put my flaming D's here, man.
Oh, God.
Remember from the Ben Affleck Daredevil, he has like the D's, the logo, it's on fire. So the Robot Chicken gag is what if...
And I would be remiss at this moment, Dragon, if I did not cite Come on, D.
Come on, D. In this case, come on. Later on, Batman's going to be saying, come on, T's.
Oh, God. Yeah, pretty much, more or
We
less.
gotta get these T's out of here.
I wish Will Friedle just literally had that exact delivery. Just come on, T's.
Come on, T's. All right. So, Batman, I like this is real cute. Batman's kind of interrogating small talk out of Dr. Price in here. While they're in the kind of the seats. Anyway, so he learns that the fuel cells have a design flaw, a major design flaw. The major design flaw is basically there's a break in the reactor, aka the nuclear reactor, in which Terry's like, "Oh my god, a nuclear reactor? What are you nuts? They'll take out half the city." I know. She made a compromise to make something efficient and like state of the art at the cost of a low.
Wouldn't it be funny if the nuclear reactor was put in there specifically to get the radio? If somehow that scientifically added up. I know it doesn't, but wouldn't it be funny if it did?
So that feels like some Star-Lord would actually.
I was gonna say yes. That feels like a Star-Lord thing.
What are you using Amulax batteries for? To get some tunes.
Oh my god! All right.
Anyways, Quill and his Harbulary batteries. Anyway, so again, she's basically saying, the government budget was so low she had to cut costs, which of course led to a very dangerous risk. But again,
Dragon, I kind of feel like there's a little bit more meat on the bones of this story that we don't really explore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like, maybe it's just on my mind because the trailer just came out, but dare I say, I kind of feel like there's a little bit of an Oppenheimer kind of like, what has she created sort of vibe that they could have gone deeper with.
You're not wrong. A little bit of that does come through with what we do have, but you're right. Again, it's 20 minutes, but there's also, we're kind of juggling the Joker's POV thing.
And this premise definitely does not justify a two-parter. So.
No, certainly not. But again, basically, Tiki, it's like column A or column B on this one. Okay, we either have the Joker's plot where it's from their perspective, or it's going to be, the Doctor.
Dragon, I'd honestly just rather the episode commit one way or another. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, so but I like this. Like, she did care for those men's lives when she basically get out of there right now. She knew this was risky, so she's not a monster. She's not like she's not doing anything super intense. She's not doing anything intentionally reckless without like care or compassion for human lives.
Sure.
Okay, so they find there again. This is a nice bit of consequence here. She feels really bad about what they come across here. They find a destroyed T's hideout, and we see T's. Some of which may or may not be dead. It's pretty destroyed in there. We see a few.
It's actually pretty shockingly violent.
They're definitely wounded. So again, we're seeing gang violence on a Saturday morning cartoon.
Sure. Which again, not really that surprising for kids WP.
Yep.
Just saying.
Compare all the other brutal stuff they've done between New Adventures and this. Yeah.
I'm sure that Static Shock at one point had to have covered gangs, right?
Well, the first episode, Tiki.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the whole bang babies? It was, that's the whole thing. It was a gang bang sort of thing. Anyway, so I just realized out of context that's quite horrible. It was kind of like gang bangers. There you
go. All right.
Anyway, so let's see. So they find the destroyed T's hideout. Come on, Tease. Don't die. Don't you die on me, Tease. Anyway, so Price blames herself. Meanwhile, we see. Oh boy, God. Okay, so then the Joker's get the idea. Like, I know we're going next to Fat Tease.
Okay, so.
We're not at
Dragon, I have two pet theories in my mind about this guy, and I'm not sure which one I think is funnier.
Well, we're not at Fat T yet, Tiki.
Okay.
Hold on, we're almost there.
All right.
Let's see. So Lee is questioning the fairness about what they just did to the other T's hideout here, where it's like, hey, they had chains and tasers. Well, they should have come prepared. I guess they were never in the Boy Scouts. So anyway, so we have a little kind of like chasey chase going on here, in which we have the Price's craft versus the experimental craft, and they're playing a game of chicken with crazy people, which is never a good idea because Scab always wins at chicken. So she gives Batman this key to deactivate the reactor.
That's what I'm saying, Drake. We have a full 5 minutes left, and we just don't see her again. I don't know. That kind of bothers me.
Yeah, she let's see, she ejects him from the craft because basically she's doing a sacrificial move here. She's about to like crash into the thing and eject Batman, and then she does crash. She survives. The last thing we get from her is when he checks in on her, and she basically pleads with him, "You have to stop the Jokerz. You have to stop them." Kind of that Oppenheimer thing you were going on.
I guess it kind of bothers me that in some ways her fate is like a little bit ambiguous.
I mean, we know she's going to be okay. She'll be okay. You're right. We don't.
She just
see
says
it.
like it doesn't matter. Like what matters is that like you stop that thing. That's the thing that's like a little bit ambiguous.
That's fair. Okay, so Batman grapples away, and then we let's see. So then he interrogates one of the Jokers he got left behind, which is Code, the dumb one with the stupid hat. And yeah, basically he fell out, and we have this this bit here. This is like where the Joker's going. To Grandma's for milk and cookies.
God.
He says, like, you think I give up my bros? Your bros ditched you, and that leads him to give up the Jokerz. And I admittedly a little easy. I kind of gave up on him easy. We're running out of time on the episode, which then leads to a really great scene in the episode. This is where we have Terry trying to. We have two scenes in this episode of Terry trying to be Batman, and to varying degrees. We have Batman versus Fat T. We go to the T's, like the one of the big. I think it's like the primary T hideout. So Tiki, tell us all about Fat T.
Okay, so first of all, like this guy is just straight up like the boss pigs of Batman Beyond so far, Dragon. I just love how random he is.
What do you think? This is the first time. This is the first time we introduced the T's. By the way, what do you think of them?
I don't really. Again, they're kind of just thrown into the episode a little bit. Like I kind of feel like it's interesting that they're kind of played a little bit sympathetic, given the first time we see him is, kind of like the fallout from the Joker's attacking them. So I'm interested to see if we kind of go like a lesser of two evils direction with them. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the thing, though. Like, it makes me always envious that we never got that Batman Beyond game, because if we did, we have a couple gangs. You have the Jokerz, you have the T's, and potentially some splicers.
All right. So, anyways, Dragon, I have two theories about Fat T. I think one of them you're gonna like a lot more than the other one. So I'll say like kind of the really dumb one.
They're all the sons of Howard Hamlin.
No, it is the son of somebody, but
okay.
So the really dumb pet theory I have with this guy is that like he named himself Fat T, and everyone else kind of calls him Fatty behind his back, and he doesn't really realize it. And then this is the one I think you're gonna like, Dragon. My headcanon for this guy is he is Fat Tony's very disappointing grandson.
Oh my God. All right.
I'm actually surprised you like the first one more than the second one.
Yeah, no, actually, the whole fatty thing.
Fat T.
Yeah, it's a good pun.
All right, anyways.
This is a good scene, though, where Batman is trying to save the T's from themselves here by through violence. He's
just like grinding down the escalator rail, first of all. Good way to make an entrance.
Honestly, I just love we gave like Batman random cool bits, like how's he
right.
Anyway, so he's telling him, get out of your own lair, and says, you know, Kevin Michael Richardson playing Fat T, or nobody tells no one gives orders to Fat T.
And that right there, that's kind of like the boss pigs energy.
Yep. So anyway, they get into a fight, and Batman kicks the crap out of all of them, and it's pretty cool. And then we have here's my runner-up for the Great Conroy, at least the honorary Great Conroy here, which is like, get out of here, please.
I mean, that's good. I just think my moment is kind of like more in line with like what we're kind of looking for with a Great Conroy moment.
You're right.
Sort of summing up his moral, his moral code.
It does, and again, the wonderful thing, especially now with in a bittersweet way now, is like Will Friedle. Essentially, Kevin Conroy was Will Friedle's mentor, so those Great Conroy moments did rub off on him in moments like this. fits into like the story of the show. So it tracks. Anyway, so the point is he got the tease out of there just in the nick of time because the Joker show up and they shoot the heck out of the place, and it's a good message, I feel, because we see that. I don't know. It's kind of like the perils of gang violence because had they not been there, they would have actually been. If they were sitting in their chairs and playing their pool game, they would have actually been shot to death.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Batman's like chaining their ride so they can't get away, and he's like tossing tear gas into like the dent that Price made when she rammed the thing. So yeah, they're being tear gassed out of there. And now here's okay. So basically, we get into a little fighty fight here. The craft ends up crashing. Batman goes in there to turn the reactor off, but then he runs into Scab, and Scab like pins him under a door. Now this scene here is interesting because it's kind of Terry again trying to be Batman, but he's still not there yet. It's like basically it's the classic scene from Batman the Animated Series where Batman's trying to talk down the bad guy, and it's not ordinarily Batman kind of gets through to him, then something happens, but in this case he's not making any headway with Scab, like at all.
No, really not.
He's trying to talk reason to him. It's like, it's going to blow up. It's like, this power is fleeting anyway. It's not even going to last.
Are you out of your mind? To quote Michael Emerson, Joker.
Are you out of your mind?
Oh, seriously, man. Emerson was such a good Joker. Underrated Joker.
He was great.
Anyways.
Anyway. But yeah, so he tries to talk reason to Scab, and Scab says, for once in my life, I got real power.
Now, again, Dragon, thematically, I think there's definitely some richness to this. I really do.
No, I know, I agree. We're seeing that the Joker is kind of the illusion of power, because like if you're living in Gotham, you're looking at who's the biggest, baddest thing that we can be. Again, Batman went away, so Batman's not the icon or role model that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Joker, though, his legacy is that people are going to I mean, you can see even if Joker did go away, Joker left an impact, and I guess people are looking for again, that's the tragedy of Batman. Even though as we're going to learn, Joker technically went away before Batman did in this continuity. It's the fact that Joker's legacy outlived Batman's, which is tragic. And the fact that these kids were indoctrinated to it, and the fact that they looked for if you were taking power away from society, you would end up like the Joker, like taking on your own rights and fighting against the man and the power and everything. So this kid is using the Jokers as a crutch, like Terry's saying.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Now he's using the ship as a crutch, and basically Scab's breaking away from it.
For me, the ship is almost like a big old drug metaphor almost.
I mean, that's the thing. Honestly, what it is the fact that Scab is willing to turn on the Jokers on a dime for a chance of real power. So again, like the Jokers is like a band-aid solution for power. It's like there's no dedication to he's not riding or dying by the philosophy of the Joker. He's purely set dressing. It's about power.
Sure.
And an episode with a nuclear reactor on board of this thing, and the power metaphors are it's pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Lee's here overhearing all of this. How Scab's going to turn on the thing he was hyping up earlier. So
what I really appreciate about this turn from Lee, Dragon, I really appreciate how underplayed it is. He helps Batman out, but there's no sort of big speech now I see the error of my ways and I won't turn to gangs.
He knocks Scab out, and then he removes the nose, and he walks out of there.
Yeah, I really appreciate the simplicity of that.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so of course Batman shuts down the reactor, and Scab's not taking it well.
No. I mean, Dragon, we've had some really visceral dark endings to Batman Beyond so far. Mm-hmm. This doesn't necessarily reach those heights.
No,
but I tell you, man, this ending is pretty dark in its own right.
It's funny. We don't. Thank goodness the nuclear device does not have a meltdown.
Right.
But Scab does. Scab has a meltdown.
He does. Yeah.
And I like that. Here's the thing I like about it most. I like that it's kind of funny, but by the same token, it's more tragic than it is funny.
Yeah, totally. It's a good mix of the two for sure.
Because again, you're thinking okay, haha, or silly non-Joker-esque threat, or haha. These kind of it's like the sad clown laughing. It's kind of the sad. It's the happy clown crying essentially. Where in this case, he's this guy has nothing in his life if he just turns to the Joker's some some power here. And it's hey, he got all of his toys taken away from him here, and he's got nothing.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, final thoughts, Dragon. Honestly, talking through it, I kind of appreciate it a little bit more. Honestly,
Yeah.
I would probably put it like above the lowest rung of episodes. It's still not like great. It's still like I don't think it's going to be super memorable. But I think I had a lot of fun talking through it, Dragon. There's definitely like I feel like it's almost like a very meme worthy episode between Fat T and the teenager at the burger joint. You know, there's a lot of fun to be had, and there's some decent morals too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, look, for me, every time I go to Batman, Batman Beyond specifically, I'm ranking it or anything. Not that I really have occasion to, but if I were, Joyride is not a top tier episode to me. A lot of people do like it though. A lot of people have fun with it.
I mean, I could see why they would.
I mean, again, honestly, Joyride's kind of like a fun, like status quo of like again, it's a good world. It's kind of it's a nice and easy world building episode that's just kind of like an average plot, but it's something like you can't really do.
Almost kind of like, don't get me wrong, it's not like the elite filler status of what I'm about to mention, but kind of gives me the same vibes as like the driving episode of Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, that's a really funny episode.
No, I know, Dragon. That, like I said, elite filler. Filler.
God, I love that episode so much.
We should seriously do a fucking just a recap on just that episode. I feel like we cited enough.
Yeah, it's possibly.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, that's the thing. I like that. Joyride again. It's not really. It's not a big go-to for me, but it's. It's a fun one. It's a fun one that kind of fleshes out the world a little bit, kind of reaffirms a few things, and again, it gives Terry some time to shine. But again, it's not. But yeah, it's the fact that Terry's show up for 5 minutes, and we're just kind of shortchanging everyone. But it's a solid episode and has a lot of fun set pieces in it. And again, I think the beefy burger held up a lot better than I remember. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so just going to shout out Slasher Fred, Wart Monarch, and of course, Richard's Victims. Just getting one more Richard's Victims joke in there. Terry, for the last time, I'm retired. I'm literally going to go play bingo with Clark later. Handle the nukes yourself. All right, so Dragon, tease us up for the next one.
The rich go digital, the Batsuit gone rogue, a familiar ghostly voice from the past. Can Terry reclaim the mantle of the Batman before Robert Vance does? Will Andre the Giant sue from beyond the grave? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Lost Soul.
Come on, tease.
Come on, tease.